What up, what up, what up, world? It's your boy J Star back again, man. We got the week 14, man. First look, man. I'm sorry to get to this so late. Been just really busy, man, lately, man. Like I said, ever since the SAG strike is over, been back on set and things like that. But we're gonna get into this as we always do. Not gonna go over the winning lineup last week. I do know, man, it was a rough week because injuries killed, I'm sure, a lot of people's lineups. I'm sure a lot of people was hurt. It was just, and it was the whole weekend. It felt like even the showdowns, injuries was popping up in those games. But I know it affected a lot of people from winning, big and stuff like that. But hopefully this week, some of this, what I want to say, the weathers and things like that, because I feel like that had a lot to do with some of these games. Playing in the rain, and some of the first games, being in the rain for these teams and stuff like that, cause a lot of slippage and things like that. But some of those injuries weren't even people getting hit. Hamstrings and stuff like that was coming up. It was really sucky, man. But hopefully this week, like I said, we don't have any of those problems. And looking right into this, we starting off with Tampa Bay and Atlanta here. Let's get the notes up here so we know exactly where we're trying to attack in these games. It looks like let me see, for the Baker side of things, he really doesn't go to his slot receiver area. And it feels like he's in that situation where Russell Wilson, doesn't matter, if Godwin it used to at least be a decent slot, and Judy is the same way on their team. They're gonna find ways to get Evans the ball, just like Russell Wilson is just gonna keep finding ways to get Sutton the ball. So, and Evans just hitting that 1,000 yards, congratulations to him again. And also I think he's like second in touchdowns or something like that in the league. With 10, I think Tyreek has 12. So Mike Evans definitely gonna be a play here, and Auden is gonna be like the best plays here to stack up. Since like I said, they're not really using that slot receiver. They're moving Evans around to take advantage of everything on the field, and Auden is probably the only person I know that's still running routes in the middle of the field area. And we know how Atlanta has been vulnerable to give up points to tight end there. On the other side here, I'm expecting this to be a really good game too. And also that's another thing I'm looking at this week with choosing my games to kind of stack in. Looking for teams that's playing for something. And these two teams is playing for that first place. Atlanta is in first place in the division, so they have a free ride to the playoffs so far. But this game right here could decide, it could change all that because it will end up tying the record and Tampa would end up, taking over. So being the team, winning the division and everything. So I expect Ritter and the whole team to come out, playing for something. It was kind of weird. I think because of the linebackers being out, I would say last week Chuba Hubbard was able to run on Tampa Bay. I mean, I guess we can say then, Bijan could be in play then because of that. It wasn't a team that, we seen anybody be able to run on, but they had two linebackers out. Of course, the cornerback was still out. I think the cornerback might still remain out in this game. But we'll see, come final look at this. But I think London is going to be a play here. You need to attack that middle of the field here too. Pitts is their, slot receiver still. So we're going to still say Pitts is going to be in play, So in this range right here will be who I'm stacking with Ritter. And if I'm thinking more of it's a Bijan game, I probably won't even take Ritter at all. But those are the best plays for that game there, man. And moving on, we got the Rams in Baltimore here. Baltimore, what would this be for a battle for first place for them? Miami just moved into that spot since the Chiefs lost to the Packers. But Baltimore has the same record as Miami, so it's a battle for that for them. And then for the Rams, it'll be just battling, trying to get into the wild card spot. So this game means something for, I would think both of these teams. So for the Lamar side of things, though, we got to watch out because this is a rain game. I believe, though, here we're looking at Rams is giving up, what is that, like rushing touchdowns and things like that. So we got Lamar for the rushing touchdown part. We got Gus Edwards for possibly that too. Besides that, in the passing, man, I would think OBJ might be wanting to take it out on the Rams since they didn't pay him after the Super Bowl to stay on the team. Also, maybe a value play in Agler or something like that could be in play here if he gets some targets. Let's see how's it been going lately for him. 2-1. Yeah, targets are real low, so like I said, it could be, a dart throw. If not, Odell's probably the best play to go with Lamar. And also, my bad, also likely, because we do pick on the tight end against the Rams. So that would be the plays I would look at to stack. I mean, it's a cheap stack here too at that. If you think Lamar rushes in those touchdowns, throws the ball very well, maybe throws a touchdown to likely, but gets Odell at least good enough yards here. Possibly this could hit then But like I said, pay attention to this weather because if it's very like raining a lot, then possibly all the passing attack is going. They're just rushing the ball a lot here. On the other side, Stafford thought has been doing pretty well, right? Yeah, so back-to-back games since he's had his running back back. So definitely pass catching option to Kyron Williams. I feel like no matter how tough the matchup is, he's kind of almost matchup proof right now, man. It was a tough matchup last week, was still able to get 20 fantasy points. So besides that, we're looking at if Denzel Ward is still out. I mean, my bad, not Denzel Ward. I'm tripping. That was last week. We got, let me see, who should it be? I think out wide is where you need to be attacking this style of defense. So Puka is still going to be in play again. And I think that's about it really because it's kind of tough to do anything else. So you need to attack here. So these two should be the best plays if Stafford is able to compete with Lamar in this game. And we've seen Baltimore, even though that they have a tough defense, they can have big leads and things like that and allow teams to come back and beat them. And it takes a lot of passing, dumping, and of course taking some deep shots out wide. So don't cheat Stafford and think he can't do it because it's definitely possible here. Like I said, playing for just to even make it into the wild card. So besides like I said, Baltimore just playing to try to get that home field with the bye and everything and take it away from Miami. We got Detroit and Chicago here. Chicago's not playing for anything. I think it's nothing at all. They're playing for the first round draft pick, of course. But, so they really got nothing to lose here. So, and which I think is kind of scary for the Lions, I would think, side of things, because they almost lost the last time. So I think, Fields and them could be feeling like cheated that they lost, that game when everything was going their way, man. DJ Moore, I think definitely is going to be in play here, and Komet is going to be huge in play. Like I said, they're playing with nothing to lose, and it's a rivalry. So, that's really bad for Detroit. Detroit is in for a tough one here, I think. And then on the other side there, with Goff, Gibbs should be the play. I mean, Montgomery, Chicago was trying their butts off to not let him do anything. Even though he got the game-winning touchdown, besides if he didn't get that, his points would have been really bad against his former team. We was looking at, without that, we're looking at like 11 points or something. So, Gibbs was supposed to be the play anyways because it was supposed to be the pass catching back. When I think of, I'm trying to think here, like, best option here. I know St. Brown is always going to be that play, but every time they play like a one high safety team, St. Brown points is usually subpar points. Like, it's not really amazing. They've been trying to implement Jamison Williams, who they need to be trying to go to when they play a one high safety team. So it's him, but since he hasn't come through, consistently, they've been using Laporta almost as their wideout. And any teams that they're supposed to, go out wide and stuff like that, that's when they use him a lot more. So I definitely think Laporta isn't playing. Gibbs is probably the best play. Jamison Williams is supposed to be getting more touches and getting the ball more, but he's lately just been able to do, a lot with very little. So since his price is still low, I think he's in play here. But if I had to really take my, best stack here with Goff, it would be Gibbs and Laporta. Moving on, though, we got the Colts and the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati is coming off a really good game for Browning. Seems like he just needed time to, have those snaps and things like that throughout practice. So it seems like everything's, was rolling this last game. I think a Mixon and also Chase is going to be the best play here. Looking at the notes here, yes, those two are the best plays here. So also, what is this? This is a one high safety team, and I believe the cornerback has been out for like the last 2 to 3 weeks. So if he remains out on Chase's side, then it's going to be a really good game possibly for Chase, and definitely a good game for Mixon. On the other side of this game, though, for Minshew, lately Pittman has just been killing one high safety teams. So I guess we got to go with Pittman, even though his price is kind of going up. But we saw Cincinnati has been getting up big plays, and so he's going to be in play there because of that. But you usually attack Cincinnati in the slot area, if I'm not mistaken here. The slot and the tight end area. So Downs is going to be in play. I know his prices seems to be dropping, I think, because I thought last week it was, 5,100. So, and I know he's only coming off of just having 5 targets, but if his targets go up, because they do put more attention to Pittman, and he could be in play there. The tight end area, man, is just sucks because we usually pick tight ends easily against, Cincinnati. Possibly, Granson could be a play at 2,600 there. Let's see with Ogletree. Man, this is almost like a toss-up because I don't know. These 3 targets, man, but I would go with Granson. I was liking Granson last season. But it seems like I don't know why his targets kind of are just iffy or whatever. But like I said, we've been picking on Cincinnati. If you're looking for a cheap tight end, you possibly could take a tight end from this game there. And also, I think to not leave out Moss, man. I think Moss, I mean, he's in a good spot. Everybody was on him last week and he fails, of course, like it always is like that. So, maybe people aren't as on him because he failed everybody last week, with only 7 points. I think he still made it into the winning lineup though, because it was just a lot of bad points with people getting injured and stuff like that. And he was just such a great value play. But now his price went up $1,300. I can see a lot of people not being on him. This game is I think it's a battle here because the Colts just went into the wild card last week with their win, and the Bengals are like one game out, it looks like. So they're still battling or 2 games out, my bad. So they're still battling to even try to make the wild card. This could help their chances because, like I said, Colts just made it into the wild card. So it's a big game there, man. So, definitely could be some fantasy points to be had there. Expect, both teams to be battling very hard. And then we got Jacksonville and Cleveland here. Trevor Lawrence, I don't know yet if he's going to play. Bethard, man, yeah, if Bethard plays, I would kind of be leaning more to Cleveland's defense here. But we'll have to see what goes on there. It looks like from the Cleveland side of things, I think, are they still going to start Flacco? Okay, wants to observe practice out the week. Okay. So we don't know if they're going to start Flacco. I thought he did pretty decent, though. 17 points fantasy. Let's see. For Jacksonville side of things, we already know since Cooper's back at home, it would be him for sure. Besides that, though, pass catching backs against Jaguars, which we just saw happen. Ford caught a touchdown in the last game for Flacco, right? So possibly, he's in play then, and of course Cooper's gonna be in play, and then even the tight end is gonna be in play here in the Njoku. So if Flacco is able to go, he could be a really cheap stack here, to take with him. All his best plays are in play here, especially like I said, if Jacksonville is not able to go with their quarterback, in Trevor Lawrence, because then it kind of makes them be able to kind of run over them a little bit, I think. If somehow Trevor Lawrence is able to go, then I would say Ridley is, possibly a play. If Denzel Ward is definitely out too, that's going to be a good spot for him. Zay Jones is also going to be a play here. His price is so cheap. Wow. Okay, that's crazy. I'm shocked how cheap he is, though. So he's definitely going to be a play too. But like I said, it's all going to be dependent on if Trevor Lawrence is able to go. We got the Carolina Panthers here and the Saints here. I don't think... Did I mention anything about what they're playing for here? I think Jacksonville is playing to stay in the playoffs. They're winning their division right now, but I think 1 or so games. They're up 2 games, my bad. So they're up 2 games. So that does matter to them. And then the Browns is in the wild card right now. So yeah, both that game is going to be, like I said, I wonder if they're going to try to force Trevor Lawrence out there because of that. It does matter, but they do have a 2-game lead over everybody right now, still in their division and everything. So they might sit him out this game because of that. They can kind of take that loss, and Cleveland needs to win. So Carolina and the Saints here. The Saints is still battling to try to, regain first place in their division, of course. So they are definitely playing for something. We know Panthers aren't really playing for anything at all. They just want to win a game, I'm sure, after having so many losses. Carr, it seems like every time he gets hurt, he tries to push through and still play. The only thing this time is we got concussion. And, you got to pass the protocol with that. So, and usually people be out for that 1 week. But it seems like, man, the Saints are trying their hardest not to put Jamie out there, because if Jamie gets out there, yeah, he might throw 400, 500 yards, but he might also throw 3 picks. And I think they just think their best chances is to have Carr out there. I think if Jamie plays, it kind of hurts Kamara, though. Because every time I notice when Jamie plays, he throws so much. He doesn't usually dump it off, so we miss the dumps to Kamara. We even miss some of the run attempts. This should be a huge game, of course, for Kamara. I think it definitely will be a huge game if Carr ends up playing because his shoulder is kind of hurt. I don't really see him throwing as much. If he is going to throw, though, definitely Olave will probably be the best play here. If Jamie is in, though, like I said, it kind of pushes out Kamara to me just because I've seen Jamie not throw him the ball enough. Like, it takes away the pass catching option for, Kamara. We'll be leaning on hoping that he gets the goal line rushing attempts and the touchdowns there, which gets taken away by Taysom Hill a lot of the time. So we're looking at, let's see, I think he is out of the 6 touchdowns here. I think 5 of them is all the rushing. So let me see. Four, is that four right there? So four, or am I missing one here? No, I counted four there. So four of these are rushing touchdowns, man. And I know Kamara has been, balling too. Like 28, coming off a 28-point game. But we do know like those touchdowns get stolen. Like if you take out the two touchdowns right here, you're looking at a pretty whack game there, from Kamara. So I like Kamara, like I said, but if Jamie plays it, I think the passing, especially if Jamie plays and Shaheed is able to go too, and Shaheed and Chris Olave is probably in play with a Jamie stack or something like that, just because he's going to want to air out the ball. And then on the other side of this game, though, since like I said, they got nothing to lose. It's just trying to ruin their division from making it, into the playoffs and the wild card spot or taking over the division here. Thielen's definitely gonna be the play. Like we already know, we trying to attack every week the Saints in that slot area. So Thielen has another shot at doing well again. I mean, last week was a game where he was supposed to be able to attack the slot. They just didn't get it going. Bryce Young is just, I don't know, man. Just haven't seen enough from him that I thought I would see this year. But Thielen is still once again in a good spot there, and that's really much about it. Moving on to this Houston and Jets game here. It's going to be probably the toughest game for Stroud. Like, no quarterback has been able to really do well against the Jets. If it was anyone to do it, I think it is going to be Stroud. The only thing, him not having Tank Dell, I think is going to hurt a lot. Nico is probably matching up with Sauce Gardner. So he's kind of like, I'm not looking his way really too much because of that. I know he's still going to get targeted because Stroud is still going to throw him throw the ball to him. I like Noah Brown here though, especially if he moves into the slot a lot. Definitely think he's going to get a crazy amount of targets this game, especially Woods too. But Schultz would be the play if he's able to go, because we do attack the Jets in that tight end area. If not, Brevin Jordan is another great value play again. So Noah Brown and Jordan, I think with Stroud, could do something there. On the other side here, it's a mess over here on the Jets, so I don't really see much. Hall, of course, is their whole offense with, of course, Garrett Wilson here. So you want to take shots there. I mean, but like I said, their offense is just really bad right now. It's hard to pick anything. Minnesota and the Vegas Raiders here. Dobbs is supposed to be getting back Jefferson, right? So yeah, he's a go. So that puts him in play. And then let me check, because I think we know the Vikings is definitely playing to stay in the wild card spot. The Raiders is 2 games out. So, they're playing for their chances at all to stay in the hunt. Looks like you need to be attacking. So out wide. So Addison and Jefferson is going to be in play. Raiders haven't been that bad against the tight end, and now that Jefferson's back, I wonder if Hockenson kind of, comes out of being the favorite now. And I think Dobbs tries to build his relationship with Jefferson in this game a lot. But then, like I said, Addison, I think is definitely still in play, because even when Jefferson was there, kind of those red zone or touchdowns and stuff, they was looking at Addison a lot for those, and he was getting a touchdown almost every game, period. So that's from that side of things. On the other side here with O'Connell, both of his main receivers are going to be in play. Myers and Adams is definitely in a good spot here. Like, for the first time, I think, too, because most of the time it's like one way or the other. And because Adams, demanded he wanted the ball, it ended up not being Myers on the games like it should have been Myers. But this game is for both of them. So, it could be a double stack possibly in play here. Like I said, the Raiders are fighting for, just to stay alive in the hunt. So if they end up playing a really good game, it'll probably be because both of these receivers are actually having a pretty productive game. I would lean towards Myers a little bit more, though, over Adams, just because the price. And, he's been able to hit really easily, hit them 20 points and then you're good. With Adams, you're looking at a 28 to 26 fantasy needed to really hit for you at 7,500. But I know a lot of people probably won't be on him. And this is still, too, with Jefferson coming back. It's kind of a battle of the best receivers in the game. So they both could be trying to show up, so keep an eye on that. And then we got the Seattle Seahawks versus San Francisco. This is a big game, really big game here, because the Seahawks is battling to even get into the wild card right now. They're the same record as the Packers, and also, who did we just talk about here? Minnesota. So it's a huge game for the Seahawks. San Francisco is trying to get that first place. They beat the Eagles, so I'm sure they're trying to stay on that roll. But this is going to be a big game. I think Geno and definitely Metcalf is going to be in play here. If not Metcalf, I think, JSN possibly could also be a play if I'm not mistaken here. Yeah, it look like JSN is probably another decent play there, but it should be a Metcalf, going to Metcalf heavily in this game, as we saw what the Eagles was able to do out wide with their two wide out receivers. Metcalf, I just feels like reminds you of like what AJ Brown, was able to do against San Francisco just last week. Devontae Smith, I know, end up, outshining. Metcalf's coming off a big game, just the last week against the Cowboys. I kind of think he could follow up with that same type of performance again, since they're battling for so much here. Besides that, though, we're looking at Brock Purdy on the other side. We attack, of course, the Seahawks in that middle of the field slot area. Debo is the person that's going in that area. Of course, we do have Kittle too joining along with him, but he gets a little bit less, opportunities, especially when Debo is there. McCaffrey is definitely going to be in play if you're just looking for a nice one-off, probably late. You got that money. I think definitely in the flex there, you can toss in McCaffrey against the Seahawks. Always going to be in play with the way there are 21 personnel. They're always going to try to establish the run first to be able to get these receivers, easy plays to catch the ball crossing the field and stuff like that. Them layered routes that they like to run off the play action. So they always going to need McCaffrey to get established. So definitely he's going to be in play here. Moving on, though, we got Buffalo and Kansas City. Usually this is a great game. I don't really know right now with the way these two teams have been playing how much of a great game it will be, at least for the Pat Mahomes side. Josh Allen's kind of stepped it up as of lately. I would say Gabe Davis seems to show up every time they play Kansas City, so he is definitely going to be in play. Of course, Diggs is going to be in play too out wide. It's where you need to be attacking, I believe, Kansas City Chiefs defense here. Well, my bad. It's really not my bad. So it is the slot and the tight end area. So, but we do know Davis, like somehow, I don't know what it is, but against Kansas City, he shows up, man. So I'm not going to, and he lines up on the same side where Christian Watson lines up, and we saw what Christian Watson was able to do to them. So I think that does benefit him. Diggs is just always just going to be in play just because he is their number one receiver. But if I had to choose to go with Josh Allen, since it is supposed to be the slot, their slot receiver is Kincaid. So definitely I'm looking at Kincaid, and I'm still looking for the deep threat to possibly still be Davis here. So I think, maybe this type of stack here, cheaper stack and not going with Diggs. I think Diggs lining up with Snead does make him have a harder opportunity to go off there. I definitely think Davis could hit on a deep throw, catch, touchdown for 100 yards in this game. Like I said, seems to always show up against Kansas City somehow. So with Kincaid, being their slot receiver here, I think that's how they get it done. On the other side here, we got Pat Mahomes. Of course, like his best two options, of course. What I think is supposed to be that area too anyways. Yeah, they need to be attacking in that slot area. So Rice is going to be, easy run back there. Kelsey is always going to be in play, of course, but this is where they want to attack the middle of the field with. So I would say Rice and Kelsey for sure. Also, I think the running back Pacheco could also be in play here too, since we have seen running backs be able to do pretty well against the Bills defense and things like that. So if somehow the Kansas City Chiefs are able to have a lead here, I think Pacheco is probably a part of that reason they're doing that. They've been doing a lot more running lately since their receivers aren't as reliable. Then this last game here, this is a big game here. My bad. I meant to talk about what was the Chiefs are trying to battle to get back first place, of course, so they're not trying to lose any more games because right now that loss against the Packers has put them one game out now, for the loss category. The Bills is trying to stay, even trying to get a wild card spot, man. They're 6-6, so they're really battling for a lot there. Then we got the Denver and the Chargers here. I think the Chargers is trying to just stay alive here. So they're trying to stay alive, and the Broncos is one game out. And this being divisional, it's going to be a huge game, man. We already seen how Russell played his last game. That was a really tough game because they was both battling for a wild card spot last week with Houston, and he was trying to cook. He was actually out there trying. So I think this game you got Sutton and him again in play, and that's really about it, man. It's like I said, it doesn't matter if Judy's in the best spot, it's Sutton every time. Like, that's who Russell is looking for. That's just how their team runs. It seems like they want to get Sutton in the best spot as the receiver they think is going to have the best production. On the other side here, though, I think Herbert gets things back rolling again in this game. I really feel that way because I think Eckler is going to be able to show up in this game. Should be a really good game for him. Keenan Allen is definitely, always going to be in play. I think he is going to have a tough matchup here, though. I know he doesn't have to line up with who is that over here again? Patrick Surtain. But let's look at this again. I just know he's not a big yards after the catch person, and that's where Denver gets attacked at the most. Is that yak yard receivers and stuff like that. But just the, of course, the targets, man. Like if he gets 16 targets, I don't see him, not producing here. But I do think if Eckler is able to catch and get into the goal line and stuff like that, get the touchdowns this game, could hurt some of Keenan Allen's stats here a little bit. Also, you need to be attacking in the tight end area too here because Denver is really bad there. I think Everett or Parham is in play here. I would lean a little bit to Everett, I think, in this game, even though I know the goal line attempts does lean towards Parham here. But I think Everett could outplay him with the yak yards, like I said, because that's where you're looking at to attack Denver is the receivers that giving up that yak, like they're getting that yak, So definitely, I think Everett is one of those players there. Keenan Allen, like I said, is cool too, but I'm leaning already towards Eckler actually showing up in this game. So just making my first lineup here, man, off of this first look here. Think I'm going to go, like I said, I'm going to lean to quarterbacks or teams that are really playing for a lot, and I feel like they're going to have good production because it's going to be a very competitive game and need to produce a lot of points here. I think I'm going to go with Purdy. He's just been on fire, man. And the game means so much to them. They're trying to, get that first place from the Eagles. Eagles possibly could lose Sunday night, against the Cowboys. And that would I don't know if it will put them in first place just yet, but possibly it puts them in play to definitely take over that first place. So then I'm going to go ahead and stack him with Debo coming off that huge game, I know already, but I'm going to run that back again since it is the Seahawks and that, like I said, that middle of the field slot area. Debo runs those routes. Also the yards after the catch, the breaking tackles, all that is in play against the Seahawks there with Debo. And like I said, I think this is going to be a very competitive game. I'm definitely also going to even run this game back. Going to even pick Metcalf on the way back here because we've seen the points that San Francisco's been able to give up to wide receiver. It's kind of been like a one-off type of thing too. Like it's not like the quarterback is doing well. It's just usually that one receiver is having a ball against them. So I definitely, Metcalf feels like that type of receiver. So I'm going to go ahead and run that back. At running back, I think I'm going to play two running backs against each other, I think, here. So I'm going to go with the Mixon versus Zach Moss here. I feel like they both in play here. This game means a lot for both of these teams. Like I said, the coach just went into the playoffs, and then Mixon and them is still battling for a playoff spot. So I definitely think, at home, definitely going with the home back there against a really good matchup, but also on the other side is a really good matchup too. Zach Moss still is pretty cheap from the production that we've seen him be able to do. So I definitely want to go ahead and take advantage of that still. I'm definitely going to take DJ Moore here playing Detroit. Like I said, Chicago got nothing to lose playing Detroit. I'm sure that last loss took a sour taste in their mouth and everything like that. I think DJ Moore is just, in a very, very good spot. A receiver that they move around to get the most production. And, this team kind of only throws kind of two, options there in Kmet and Moore. So I definitely think a full game against Detroit. We've seen how vulnerable they've been to give up points and stuff like that to wide receivers too at that. And he already had a really good game against them last time. At tight end here, I think I'm going to go with who I was just mentioning about, but I'm going to go with Everett here in that really good game against, Denver and them battling. Like I said, Chargers just battling to try to stay alive in the hunt. And, of course, Denver is trying to get back into the playoffs, after losing to Houston last week and everything. So then we got flex option here and defense. Defense, I think I'm going to go with the Bears defense here. Like I told y'all, I always like the rivalry defenses and stuff like that because they can tend to do something at least, probably they're playing for a lot. They just, especially the home one too. So the home being so cheap, this week, and they played well on the road against Detroit. So I definitely think they could show up again here at home. And then I'm going to go with Myers, man, as my last pick. I know I got Flowers, Singletary, but Myers in that really good spot. Like I said, the Raiders, what was it, 2 games out of the playoffs or something like that, right? 2 games out of the playoffs, and the Vikings is playing for, to stay in that playoffs, wild card spot. So I definitely think, this could be the last, what I want to say, chance for the Vegas to even try to produce, like even be playing for something. So, I definitely think Myers could have a big game because of that reason there. So that's how I'm going to finish this off, man, with my first look, man. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Hopefully this is able to cash big for all of us, that ends up wanting to play this lineup. But hopefully also this video helps y'all out and y'all able to make the winning lineup. Your boy J Star, man, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out, y'all. Peace.